Hey, welcome back. It just got really bright in here. Um, I just did my therapy. Whew, so I've been talking for a long time. So I started at 3:48 today, and right now it's 6:06, and I have to record 4 more videos. But I do it for you. Do I? I do it for me. Um, so what do we talk about in therapy? We actually talked a lot about church stuff. And she thought maybe I should like look for a bigger church. I always kind of thought that that would be hard to do because I've already kind of like committed to this current church. Um, but she's like, you could just like go to another church like once a month. And I'm like, oh yeah, I could just do that. I've always had it in my head that like you go to the same church every week. That's what you're supposed to do. But I don't have to do that. I do whatever I want. But yeah, I told her this story about how I went to there's a big church around here called Redeemer Church. And the first service I went to, first of all, the pastor wasn't even there. He was in like Albany or something, and they just like played a recording of him. And the recording they played, it was a lot about gay stuff, and he was like, the one thing that I remember that he said was, there are a lot of things in the Bible that aren't clear and can be like up for debate. And he's like, well, being gay is not one of those things. It's very clear you're not allowed to be gay. So I'm like, okay, I'm not coming back here. My current pastor has never really said that. I mean, I know he thinks it, but he's allowed to think whatever he wants. He's a person. As long as he doesn't say it, it's not that bad. I mean, I wish he would also think the way I think, but like, everybody can't think like how you think, right? I don't know. He's never said anything like that. He's been like, and then the cool thing, I like this pastor because like he met me when I first started going, and we had a kind of conversation about that, where he was like, yeah, I don't really like to take positions, like cultural positions from the pulpit. Like, I'm a person and I have my own positions, but I don't like to tell people like what's right and what's wrong, because like I'm not Jesus, right? I'll just like tell you what I see in the Bible, and like you make your own choices. And so like I feel like that's the best I can get. And so like once in a while in a sermon, you'll pull up a verse and it'll be like, well, see what this verse says? And so like it's kind of implied like, okay, do that. Everybody here has to do that or they're a bad Christian. That's like the worst that it gets. He never says that though. And so maybe it's a little implied, but he never says it. So that church, the Redeemer Church, said it. If you're gay, you bad. So what he said. So I don't want to go back. But yeah, the therapist was like, yeah, you should find a church like that, because there's churches like that around Albany where they don't say that, and they're like big churches, and like they have a bunch of young people, and like that's a good place for you to meet young people. Because at this current church, I mean, that guy John is awesome, and he invited me to his wedding, which is like probably the nicest thing anybody's ever done for me. And he's a really good person, but he's like one of the only people my age there. So it's weird. There's not a lot of people to meet. There's no girls. Yeah, there's no single girls there my age, which is kind of weird, right? From like 25 to 35, there's nobody. Because if you're Christian and you go to one of those churches, you get married when you're 20. It's just what you do. I think it's a sex thing, but I'm not sure about that. Like, oh, no premarital sex, so we gotta get married. That's stupid. I would never do that. You can tell because I'm 29 and I'm still not married, so. I think that's stupid. I think everybody thinks that's stupid. If that's the reason you're getting married, yeah. It's pretty stupid, guys. So I guess I'll talk about... Yeah, and I even kind of mentioned this note in therapy. So today's kind of a churchy day, sorry, if you don't like those days. My pastor, he talked about purpose this week, and I was like, ooh, I've been thinking about purpose. That's interesting. And so he's like, what are you pursuing in your life? I mean, it was a good sermon. I liked it. He said, like, I don't know, I'm gonna butcher his sermon. Like, he did a good job. It was very profound and whatever. But one of the things that he said was like, are you pursuing like earthly things, or are you pursuing Jesus? Like, a Christian should pursue Jesus. That's true. That's true. But I'm like, okay, what's the difference between earthly things and Jesus? Like, I thought I knew, but then he's like, okay, don't pursue earthly things. I'm like, okay, like, I kind of get that. I mean, there are earthly things that I think are bad to pursue, like greed, money. We all know pursuing money is stupid. But, like, what I'm pursuing right now, like, connections, is that an earthly thing? And I'm like, okay, how do you know the difference? Because he kind of gave some examples of like an earthly thing. I mean, like a Christian, like this is how you pursue Jesus, and he's like serving the church. I'm like, serving the church? The church is people. The church is a building. It's not Jesus. How is that a godly thing? Oh, I gotta be careful. Because once you go on the SSN, you know, you can't go back. Maybe I should go over here and, like, train a little bit. Get my boys up. Only level 15. I'll just buy a ton of potions. I gotta be careful on the SSN. Like, that's when I actually have to think. Because I don't just want all my guys to die. Because once you die... I could just do save states, though. Oh, big mistake. Big mistake. I'm gonna blow that snake away. With my wings. Uh-oh. What does that do? I think I'm dead. Oh. Super effective. Oh, no? Uh-oh. Ow. I thought he was grass. Oops. I want him to grow a level, so let's do that. Yeah, he's like, I mean, basically what he said is like, how do you pursue Jesus? Like, well, being nice to people and serving people. Like, okay, but like, people are earthly things. Like, how are you distinguishing? Like my purpose of pursuing human connections or social connections or whatever. I think by my definition, that is a godly thing. It's as godly as I can pursue. So, like, maybe my pursuits are good. Does he mean, like, I should become a missionary? No. I think he would say, obviously, no. But, like, does he think I should volunteer more at the church? what if that's not the right thing for me? I think my solution, I mean, my, like, what I'm doing is just like, you have this conviction, I should be more social and I should try to connect with people. Then you pray about it and you're like, God, is this what you want? And if God is real, he'll be like, yep, keep doing it, or no, stop it, do this other thing. As far as I've been alive, and I pray about, like, God, help me, tell me what to do. Should I be doing this? I'm a Christian. Jesus is in here. I let him in. He's right in here. I got him right in my gut. Oh no, I got him in my gut. You're supposed to get him in your heart. Oh, he's in there. So, like, if I pray to him and he's real, then what I'm doing right now must be right. It must be godly. It must be pursuing him. It can't be more complicated than that. Can't be. I read the Bible. Hey, I read the Bible. I've read the Bible cover to cover probably, maybe only 3 times. But I read the New Testament like 10 times probably. All the way through. Even the crazy one at the end that's about dragons and demons and stuff. Angels with eyes of serpents or whatever. I gotta end. I gotta keep these videos short because... Oh, hey, I told I told my therapist about your book, Dalton. I was like, hey, I talked to Dalton this week, and he's a writer. Here, look, I have his book. I didn't read it yet. Chapter 16, A Different Kind of Hell. That's a good chapter name. I like that. Oh, you're such a better writer than me. Dalton, are you going to write my Sherlock Holmes story? You've got 2. I know you got your own stories, right? But I kind of I'm interested about that cabin story that you mentioned. Anyway, see you tomorrow. Bye.